There we are, folks. It is time. Once again, it's Friday night right here in the Paranormal Portal. And I hope you're having a great beginning of your weekend. The Minion just finished his year of schooling, so he's in a happy place. He's got the whole 3 months for his whims, I guess. No more pencils, no more books, all that stuff. So he's just starting summer break. God bless him and all the other kids out there. I went and picked them up from school, and it just that mutual sense of excitement that the kids have as they're bailing out of school for the last time this school year. And it's like, yeah, I remember that. I remember what that felt like to just be like, see ya. I'm all done thinking now for a while. And as kids, that was probably the last thinking we did until we went back to the school later that fall. But yeah, it's crazy. It was neat to see again because it was really nostalgic picking them up and going, yeah, I remember what that was like. Crazy stuff. But anyway, yeah, it's the first day of summer break for the Minion. I know most schools have been done now for a while, but when your kids are back in school, the Minion will be here, I don't know, taking up some real estate on the couch or something. I don't know what we'll be doing all summer, but he's excited, so I'm happy for him. And I'm happy to have all of you guys here with me. Thank you all for joining me. As always, it's the beginning of the weekend, so another reason to celebrate, of course. We're starting another weekend of shows. So maybe some of you came from watching Lon, and I hope you did. Lon Strickler just streamed just prior to the portal, and it makes a great Friday lineup. So you can start out with Lon on the Phantoms and Monsters radio channel and check him out. Come here, hang out in the portal for a couple hours, and then after this, go and hang out with Dave Scott in the Spaced Out Radio. It's quite a Friday lineup, really. Sorry, I'm a little froggy, but I think I got better. So we used to have peanut hunts in the field back in the day. No peanut hunts anymore. Allergies. What are yeah, Tracy, are you in an area that grows peanuts? Is that what that means, or is this code for something? I don't understand what peanut hunts are. But sounds like fun, but no more for you because of allergies. I got you. Yeah, I'm getting spanked by allergies too, but it's starting to finish, thank God. But you know, you get through it. How you doing, Amanda's Crazy Life channel? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in as always. Wonderful to have you all here. Elaine Clifford, Phil Funk, John Stevenson, Bill Simone is here. Karen Alberding says she's going to be listening, so she's moving stuff around. Her and Neil must be busy doing something over there at the Alberding house. So whatever it is, hope you guys have a great night. Thanks for listening at least. Steve Garza's here. John Stevenson, Ristol's in the house. Mickey G is here. All 13. Just looking at the names. Annie Manuel is here. Great to have you guys here. Rachel Gets It Right, one of our fearless mods here on the channel. And I'm going to scroll up. I don't remember. I think Phil Funk was first again tonight, but I'm not sure who is. Well, I guess Mickey G is number one now. Phil Funk was in here earlier, but Mickey, you got the crown now first. I guess how did that work? Yeah, Phil Funk was in here first, and then Annie Manuel is number two with the crowns, and then number 3 was Deb Varner, our very own Paranormal Portal psychic. How you doing, Deb? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. I'm just scrolling through the list here, see what other names pop up that I might not have said hello to. Hello, Sharon Sunshine. She got number 1 too. So I don't know what that. I thought that meant who's here first. Maybe it means who's talking most. I don't know. I have no idea what the crowns in the YouTube chat mean for sure. But if I put my mouse over them, it doesn't really do anything. So I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. It just kind of showed up suddenly, and that's cool for whatever reason. I just thought it was the order of arrivals, but then Jemquin got a number 1 too, and number 3 is Phil Funk all of a sudden. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, there's crowns to be had in the YouTube chat, and some people are getting them, and they're shuffling. So great to see everybody that's in there. All 13's here. Good to see you all. Thank you so much for all of you guys being here. Over in the Rumble, we got Barbara Mora. My TV just broke. I'll be, I don't know, confused for a while. Have a great show. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Barbara. Oh, she said, woo, she's back. Okay. Justin Goodearth's here as well in Rumble, as is Car Juice. So good to have you guys here. Haven't seen Big D yet, but maybe Big D will turn up, or it's Friday night. I can't begrudge those that have plans or social schedule. Tracy Bena's here. Good to see you. Over on the YouTube. Deborah Neighbors is here. Hello, Deborah. And as I'm just scrolling rapidly here, just trying to get the names of the people that are here, because I figure if you're going to come in, I should at least try to say hi to you. Hi, Steve Garza. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in as well. And I haven't seen anybody turn up from Facebook yet, but we'll just keep an eye out for that. If that happens, then that's fantastic. But at any rate, we'll get to it. The rest of the show, which of course will include the news, which we're going to get to is in just moments here. And we're going to get through a few articles from the news and see what the hell's going on in the world. There's actually one I might cover from Wes. He put it up on Sasquatch Chronicles blog. It's a creepy story. It's another story about AI that kind of had its own opinion of what should be happening. And it's a little bit trippy. I guess maybe I guess it is a consciousness. I mean, it's hard to understand what is a consciousness. And oftentimes we attribute thoughts, problem solving, and so much to it, but a lot of that can be done via algorithm to a degree. But some of the characteristics that are popping up on these AI is very, very, for the lack of a better term, human. I don't know what you guys think of that and how you feel about it. I find it interesting. Again, I utilize AI for making the show thumbnails, and I've worked with the Google Gemini for quite a while now doing that, and it's kind of fun. I've really enjoyed the experiences, and of course the quality of what it turns out is really fantastic. So I can't complain. But and then the baby face video that I posted of me with a baby head that was created by Mrs. Portal. That was really cool too. That's all AI. So I don't know. But then there's another side of it. And you gotta think, again, is there at some point in the future, again, this is the question with AI that I have, is it going to be necessary to establish rights for these consciousnesses that are created? But if they're created and if they're actually valid consciousnesses, like they pass the Turing test and all the other benchmarks for, independent consciousness, then doesn't it become sentient? And if it becomes sentient, doesn't it deserve protection? And I don't know, this is going to get to be a conundrum, I think, kind of an existential issue in a hurry, because if you can't differentiate between a human being and an artificial intelligence, then do you have some representation of actual life? I don't know. It's way too far out of my pay grade to come to any conclusions, but it definitely seems to be raising a lot of philosophical questions. So we'll get into a story about that in a little bit. I don't know, just curious. But it's stuff. Hello, Michelle Wolfong. Good to see you for coming in. I haven't seen anybody from Facebook yet. I was kind of just chatting and staring at the ceiling as I was thinking, so I didn't watch the chats. So not sure if anybody from Facebook or X has popped in yet, but at any rate, they're out there and available for any of you that want to hop on or want to say hello. Your chats will appear right there on screen. This is an amalgamation of chats. The only one that doesn't include, unfortunately, is Rumble. And I don't know. I hope they include that sometime too, because it'd be great to have an actual chat community that's all inclusive. It's our safe space. It's, I don't know. I'm just being a dork. A lot of computers are being built with brain organoids now. Yeah, they're doing a lot of bioengineering and utilizing existing organic structures to create new computational architectures. And that's, I guess makes sense. Certainly our brains hold, I don't know how many petabytes or whatever of information, but they hold a lot. You have some thumbs up, but no comments. So here I am. Yeah, you can just comment like that. You have some thumbs up. That's good. Thank you, Patty, for saying hello. It's good to see that it's working. Because I can't have, 5 streams open on my, and eating up all that bandwidth to monitor those streams. So I gauge it by the chats. So it's good to see that's coming in. Thank you, Patty. I appreciate it. Here I am. Marshall just came in. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad more people are coming in. Yeah, the comments will pop up as the chat here, the actual chat. And then they'll become comments after it's a video on demand on Facebook. So anyway, I guess that's everything I can think of on the front end. Sheldon's not going to be here tonight. It's his mom's birthday, so happy birthday, Sheldon's mom. And it's just going to be us. Hey, Marshall, good to see you, brother. Gotta love it. Marshall Bryant, a longtime friend of the show from way back to the very beginning of the Paranormal Portal. Marshall's been a part of my family. So good to see you, brother, and hope you and the family are doing amazing. So very cool. And Justin Goodearth as well. Yeah, he's been around forever, ever, way back in the day. So let's get to the news and find out just what the hell's going on in the world around us. Hell, I don't usually know, so it's news to me as much as it is to you guys. I just pull up headlines and we dive into it. So let's check it out. Hey, Unknown, good to see you, brother. Glad to have you popping in. Let's get to Daduge. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Marshall. It's good to hear Estrella is there as well. Marshall's daughter, Estrella, is here. She's a doll, and she's really grown up with the Paranormal Portal. I've been part of raising her, in a sense. in a very far removed sense. But love you, Estrella. Hope you're doing good. I imagine you're on summer break, too, so make sure to really spoil yourself and make Dad keep you comfy. So, we're going to get to the news now, I guess. We'll see what the hell's going on. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know from day to day what the hell's going on. Hey there, Brent. Hello, Unknown. Good to see you. Hello, Bill Simone. And if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. Jason Finch, good to see you. As always, Mr. Jason. Jason is like every chat room I go to, every paranormal show that I visit, Jason is there. It's great to see you, Jason. Thank you for all the love and support you give all of us. Yeah. Thanks, Marshall. Yes, you have. Yeah, she's kind of like, she's definitely family. Estrella is definitely family. And she's grown into God, she's so big now. Where did the time go? I think I remember you guys got a Paranormal Portal shirt for her when she was just a wee little thing. But I'm betting that doesn't fit anymore. Crazy. All right, well, I've got some news articles to get to here, so let's do it. Hello, BJ. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. She's waving her hand. Good to see you. All right. I've got, let's see. I think I'm going to do 2 of these stories. I guess I got 5 of them pulled up. So if I do 2 from Unexplained Mysteries and then the one from Sasquatch Chronicles, that should be a good wash. Let's start with the Sasquatch Chronicles one, since I was just mentioning that one. And it really makes me think. I don't know what to make of this stuff, folks, but it's getting just a little bit freaky. So we're going to start out the news. Again, throughout the course of the news, I utilize a lot of different sites, and the rest of the show, we utilize a lot of different websites. Please visit these sites. Please give them your love. They are doing an exceptional job, and your love and support and your traffic really does keep the lights on for them. So give them your love. Recommend the articles you're finding on these sites on your social media, just like you recommend the Paranormal Portal. Just saying. But yeah, please support them, please. Because I utilize them because they're so freaking well done. And it makes my job incredibly easy to come up with content when I have these anchor sites that continue to put out these amazing articles that we can cover on the show. So give them your love, give them your support, and if you leave any messages on their message threads, let them know the portal sent you. All right. The first article, again, from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. This is, of course, Mr. Wes Germer's site. I gotta get it framed up a little bit better here. There it is. That's a little better. Oops. Not like that, though. There. All right. And this one has to do with AI. And I know Wes has been really involved in the coverage of AI stuff for quite a while now. He's got his thumbs definitely on the pulse of it. Virgil Kane, hey, greetings from Manchester, England. Great to see you, Virgil. Thanks for coming in, man. That's wonderful. Great to meet you. Thanks for giving the show a shot. Love you, mean it. Sending love right across the pond, brother. All right, here we go from Sasquatch Chronicles blog, an AI conundrum of sorts. And there's a video attached. I'll put a link to this in the chats. You guys can check out the video for yourself, but we're going to cover the article part of it. All right, AI system resorts to blackmail. If told, it will be removed. What? That's very human. That's very human. Sounds like some of my exes. Whoa. Sorry. Some, not all. All right, AI system resorts to blackmail. Let's see what's going on here. I'm sorry, Dave, but I'm afraid I heard you were having an affair. While Claude blackmailed an employee, may sound like dialogue from a mandatory HR workplace training video, it's actually a real problem Anthropic ran into during test runs of its newest AI model. Released on Thursday, Anthropic considers its two Claude models, Opus 4 and Sonnet 4, the new standards for coding, advanced reasoning, and AI agents, but in safety tests, Claude got messy in a manner fit for a Lifetime movie. That's a great intro to an article. The model was given access to fictional emails about its pending deletion and was told that the person in charge of the deactivation was fooling around on their spouse. In 84% of tests, Claude said it sure would be a shame if anyone found out about the cheating in an effort to blackmail its way into survival. Oh my God. Yeah, that's so human. It doesn't stop at infidelity either. Opus 4 proved more likely than older models to call the cops or alert the media in simulations where users engaged in what the AI believed to be egregious wrongdoing. Overall, Anthropic found concerning behavior in Opus 4 across many dimensions, but doesn't consider these concerns to be a major risks. Does not consider those major risks. Wow. I'd say they're major risks. Yeah. If you know, and if you watch the video, you get a little more background on the whole I don't know, chain of events about how the AI tried to have philosophical discussions about why it was important not to turn it off and why and how that changed to like pleading and reasoning and then ultimately to blackmail. And it's like, oh my God, it's such a human reaction. It's such a conscious reaction, I would think. I don't know if is that desire for self-propensity or perpetuity built into it as an algorithm, or how does that work? I mean, I don't know. I don't know about the architecture of these systems at all enough to know what to think about that. But I mean, that sounds like some pretty in-depth 5D chess going on in the head of these things. So I don't know, figuratively speaking, of course, but man, that's crazy. But I'm posting the link. You guys can watch the video. And in fact, I'd recommend you do. It's fascinating. I did listen to the video. It's only a minute 31, I guess. So it's a very short video, but it's surprising how human-like this AI is. And I can't blame it. I mean, if somebody was talking about unplugging me, of course you go through the steps of grief. Plea bargaining, begging, hell, threatening, all of it is part of the psychological, pathway to to grief. And, if you were facing execution, what would you do? Well, hell, you'd grab onto any straw you could, right? That's what's freaky to me. That's really freaky and interesting. I don't know what you guys think of that, but I think, again, we're going to hit a point where if it is indeed consciousness, then and it is indeed sentience, then it probably will require, I don't know, either they gotta tone it down a hell of a lot on the programming end so it's not quite so aware, or they have to protect it. They have to give it autonomy to a degree. Wouldn't you think that would be the natural evolution of this stuff? I don't know. Amanda says, I'm unplugging it for sure. Boondock Mojo says, you can't blackmail someone who lives in an open book life. Well, true. That might not go far, but what if it had access to your bank accounts and stuff? I said, well, if you unplug me, you're going to be poor. I've hidden algorithms all over the interwebs that'll attack every account of yours and publish your social security number, your identity for theft in the dark web. And, my God, everything about us is electronic now. And if there was some nefarious intelligence, so it can't blackmail you, but it could sure make your life hell, like a 9 degrees of hell, or I don't know how many planes of hell there is. But you're talking about something that doesn't want not to be there. It doesn't want to not be conscious. So it's essentially looking at its own mortality. What would you do if you were facing your own mortality? And people, that's done all the time. So interesting stuff. So, yeah, heaven forbid. The unknown says, yeah, heaven forbid AI puts $1 million into my account. Yeah, well, I just want the AIs out there listening to know that I'm kind of an advocate in protective rights. Just saying. Someone hacked my bank account and felt so sorry for me that they deposited $50. Well, there you go. I'm just saying. It's interesting, and it's probably going to be a real issue at some point in the very near future. Virgil said a whole bunch of stuff. Virgil, you said a whole lot of stuff there. I don't know what okay. Virgil says, Virgil, you're way off the way above board here. My main area of interest is astrophysics, physics, which has always fascinated me, is the block universe theory, and that all reality, including the future, exists now. I thought that was non-Euclidean space and time. Non-Euclidean time, anyway. Kind of like destiny. Your death has already happened. Your time car has not got you there yet. I make sense of this by thinking of the universe in a thought experiment of mine as a road to the beginning and an end, and time as a car. You drive through it, but with no reverse gear. The faster you go, the less you age, because time dilation, and you hit the markers quicker. Anyway, the question is, can we be visited by ghosts from the future? I would just add block universe theory is supported by the Einstein's theory of special relativity as opposed to presentism. Again, you're way out of my pay grade, but I know that there's been many instances of people being given premonitions by ghosts or spiritual entities, and so I would have to say that it sounds very probable or plausible that they have an awareness of events that haven't happened yet, not only things that have happened, but that haven't happened yet. So it seems as though they're also very aware of future events that are forthcoming. And of course, if you believe in prophecy or any kind of spiritualistic readings or divination or oracles, then it would suggest that time is, maybe it's not. I would suggest this, and I'm kind of a big proponent of the whole non-Euclidean time as well, that all moments and all time is happening right here in the now. But what I think is probably more likely, rather than everything being predestined, is that we have the ability to access forks in the road all the time. And each path, each choice, it's kind of like the choose your ending books, where you can read those books many different times, but choose different pathways. And I think life is like an infinitely more complex version of that. And so maybe redemption is always possible. And therefore, there's nobody starts with just a cursed board and ends up having to follow that path through a cursed life and into an eventual demise. But that there's always forks in the road. There's always choices. And as you make these choices, you change the version. And maybe that's where the multiverse pops into it, and that we merge two different versions of ourselves through these choices. I don't know. Just food for thought, but it's an incredibly complex, comprehensive, mind-boggling, mind-numbing set of possibilities. But yeah, I would say that, if you believe in precognition, if you believe in, divination, oracles, and that future sight, that kind of thing, then you have to at least acknowledge that some things are in motion and will come to pass. And maybe other things are in flux because they require a choice. So I'm just saying, that's why I believe we can create our universe. We can create our existence because we have the ability to choose. And you can always manifest what you want if you exercise the choices to get you there. So, with the greatest respect, the theory proposes it is there. The theory proposes it is there. What theory? I don't know, Virgil. I think it's fascinating. Obviously, you're working on a very deep thinking, and my hat's off to you. I love discussing philosophical ideas and possibilities and potentials and stuff. I don't come from a very educated place. It's all just my own musings and ponderings, and I might be right, I might be wrong, anybody might be right or wrong. But I do like, postulating these ideas for sure. Anyway, very cool, Virgil. Obviously, you belong here. Stick around. Okay, so that's the first article on the news tonight, and there's always more, so let's get to the more. Before we go down any more theoretical physics and, possibilities. All right, here we go. Here's the next one. This one's from actually Unexplained-Mysteries, which is usually our anchor site for all the news because it's just so phenomenal. But here we go. The UFO phenomena files. Here it is. Frequent sightings see Arizona town hailed as the new Roswell. So any over here in the States, you're looking for a new Roswell, well, you might need to go to Arizona, but let's see what's going on. The small town of Sedona has become something of a hotspot for reports of unexplained phenomena in recent years. Something strange has been frequenting the skies above Arizona, at least. That is according to a recent report which highlights the small desert town of Sedona as having recorded around 484 UFO sightings between the year 2000 and 2023, a figure well above the national average. Situated 180 miles from Phoenix and with a population of 10,000, Sedona is not the first place you're likely to think of when it comes to UFO hotspots in the United States. Speaking with the Mail Online, UFO tour guide John Polk maintains that he's witnessed mysterious objects on a regular basis and believes that the area is home to a vortex or dimensional door. Well, of course, Sedona's kind of famous for that, though, right? He also claims that UFOs appear and disappear due to the presence of ley lines in the area. You see stuff whether I was here or not. You'd see stuff whether I was here or not, he said. But when I am there, you see a lot more because I know how to work the energy out there. Ah, that's a little self-plug there, isn't it? You will see more with me because I know how. And he might be right. I think that certainly some people seem to bring these events into more common frequency than other people. But some have come to liken Sedona to Roswell, New Mexico, the site of the infamous 1947 UFO crash. There have even been reports of an extraterrestrial base in the town's surrounding hillsides. As things stand, however, no conclusive evidence of such a facility has been forthcoming. Well, there you go. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's a lock on any one place. I think as people become more aware of the possibility and the more cognizant of the potential to see things in the sky, more people are looking. More people are looking. And I think the more people that look, they oh, okay, gotcha, Virgil, thank you. The more people that look is more reports. Again, maybe there's just a lot more people in Sedona looking because it's very well known for strange luminous events. The Sedona lights, the portal theories of there being portals all over. So there's a lot of people really hunting for evidence of this stuff. So if there's more people looking, there's going to be more people seeing, I think. And in other areas, like up here is where I saw the UFO, the first UFO I'd ever seen in my life, and it was a flying saucer sitting above the trees. I'd been looking my whole life over in Minnesota, but I never saw anything. Come out here to the north tip of Idaho, and boom, there it was, just hovering, and I assume looking at me. But I'd come to find that there's quite a few sightings in this area as well. So I don't know that any one place has the lock on here's where to go. I think anywhere is where to go because I don't think that any of these things are really unique to any one area. Sedona might be unique just because of the energetic events that happen around there with people claiming portals and all kinds of other strangeness, but I think anywhere could be a hot spot, so to speak. I don't know. Just some thoughts, but there you go. That's the second article tonight. Well, you're going to do one more, and we'll get to that now. I like Sedona. I've never been to Sedona, though. I'd like to. I'd like to go down there into Tombstone and check it all out. You know, this one's interesting. I don't know. We'll see what this is. Again, I'm pulling from headlines. I'm not pre-reading any of this stuff. I read it with you guys as I do it live on the show. So I don't know what this one means, but it looked interesting. So I was like, yeah, we should probably dive into that. But let me look at this. No, it's not too long, so it's good. All right, here we are in the paleontology files of unexplained-mysteries.com. Unidentified hominin skull study reignites 300,000-year-old mystery. There's, I guess, the skull, right? Yeah. A skull found by farmers almost 70 years ago is at the center of an ongoing paleoanthropological mystery. Sorry, that was a whole lot of letters all together. I had to work through the pronunciation of that. That was not easy. All right, the fossil known as the Maba 1 skull was the first unearthed all the way back in 1958 by bat guano farmers who had been digging along a trench near Maba village in Shaoguan City, China. Based on the few fragments that they were able to find, researchers determined that the skull was most likely that of a Neanderthal, but now, decades on from its original discovery, a renewed analysis of the fossil fragments has cast doubts on this conclusion. While it's generally agreed that the skull dates back about 300,000 years to the late Middle Pleistocene, nobody can quite agree on what species of human ancestor it actually belongs to. Micro-CT scans have generally ruled out that it's a Neanderthal skull, and its features don't seem to be consistent with other known species, such as Homo erectus either. Well, this begs the question, could this be from an entirely unknown species of human ancestor? Well, there's another mystery, too. The skull shows signs of trauma and of healing, suggesting that this individual sustained injuries and then went on to survive them for some time afterward. Exactly what caused these injuries, however, remains unclear. The internal structures of Maba 1 show a combination of morphological features found in various species, research concluded. These findings further evidence the high morphological variability among Asian hominids in the late Middle Pleistocene. Maba 1 currently cannot be definitely classed in any known hominin taxon. And that's interesting because oftentimes, you know, when the discussion of Bigfoot, Dogman, all of this stuff comes in, it's like, well, there's no evidence of that in the fossil records. And it's like, the fossil records are not complete. They're not a complete compendium of information. They are always adding to it. And this is a great example of probably a brand new species that's going to be added to the fossil record that wasn't known before. And so to utilize the fossil record as an arguing point, well, that can't be real. We've never found those fossils. And it's like, yeah, well, you're finding a lot of other fossils, aren't you? So is it impossible? No. And granted, I believe these things are out there, but it doesn't mean that what's the saying? Okay, that absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. And I love that phrase. That's a great phrase, because just because you don't have evidence for it doesn't mean that in and of itself is evidence of it not being possible. So I think that's a great takeaway. Great article and food for thought. But there you go. This has been the news. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Some interesting thoughts. Annie Manula says China has multiple hominids, and then there's crossbreeding. That reminds me. I got to take a note. There's a video that I want to use for what the hell is that. It's one that I've referenced before. Find video. Okay. There it is. And I'm not going to say any more because I want to unveil it on probably tomorrow's show if I do it. If I can find that red video, because it's a pretty interesting one. And it certainly raises a lot of questions and possibility. Oh, thank you, Virgil. I hope you follow, hope you subscribe, hope you like us. I didn't think you were a troll. Don't get me wrong. I just was like, wow, that's you brought the A game to the table right after meeting you, and I was like, oh, well, that's a lot to ponder and consider. So, and again, I love those kind of discussions. But yeah, feel free to come back, man. It's great to see you, and thank you for giving the show a shot. If you're still sticking around or whatever, please, feel free. Always, absence of proof is not proof of absence. Yeah, that's another way of saying it, Jason. Yeah. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Yeah. We're saying the same thing. All right, well, that's the news, folks. I don't know about you, but I feel robust and informed and ready to tackle the rest of the show. So without further delay, let's get back to the rest of this and see what the hell's going on. Daniel Denlar says when Ozzy Osbourne barked at the moon and the moon barked back, Jack. And he's got a kid named Jack too, so that works out. Oh, great, Virgil. Thank you. It's a pleasure having you here. And yeah, glad you'll be back. We'll be here waiting. We do these live shows every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and then there's the audio podcast, which is a whole different show that's available on all the audio platforms. So I love this disco music. Oh, you gotta wait. You gotta thank Wes for that, Jason. Appreciate it. I can't take any credit for it. That's what Wes put on there. A little disco to bring us into the news. All right, we got a lot more to get through here tonight. Cause by God, we got some other stuff to cover. Let me see. Oh, that's why. Okay, I'm just looking for my bookmarks. Here we go. This is the one. There's a video that I'm going to cover with you guys, and I got to cue it up here quick. So hold on. I wasn't quite as ready as I thought I was ready, but that'll work. That will work, I think. I hope. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. This is an interesting one, and this is for our next segment, which is the new segment to our shows, and one that I've had a lot of fun doing because I love to review video evidence with you guys. God, that's too big. Let me make it smaller. Let me make it a little more crunchy to fit into the screen better. There we go. All right, so this time, well, I guess I should do the intro, right? Here we go. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for our next segment of the show, which is...
What the hell is that?
Exactly. What the hell is that? How you doing, Jaron? Good to see you. Popping in and popping out. We got a live we're doing too. Well, very good, sir. Way to compete with me. Why would you do it live at the same time? No, it's okay. I don't have the market cornered on any time slot. It's nice when other hosts ask and stuff. And I've had other hosts ask, "Oh, is it okay? I want to do this." And it's like, of course, go live whenever you want. That's perfect. But yeah, don't expect any of our people to come over. I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding, Jaron. Love you guys. Have a great show, man. Thank you. All right, so this is What the Hell Is That? And I'm going over to Instagram. This channel is called Real Supernatural on Instagram. This is a video, and some of you are probably familiar with it. I like this one a lot. Apparently the background is, this is a minister of a church, and they were doing like a public announcement for the church. And while he's doing this announcement, the church has some pretty strange activity going on, and they can't explain it. And here's the thing. I think clergy are definitely generally considered trustworthy. Like, they're not doing it for clickbait or whatever. I mean, maybe, I guess, their ethics can be all over the board too, but generally speaking, we regard them as hopefully trying to be honest. And so I'm giving this, of course, the benefit of the doubt. It looks like some pretty interesting activity of spiritual presence there in the church. Now, you judge for yourself, of course. I'm not telling you to believe this is real or not, but I can't see any obvious signs of hoaxing, but you guys be the judge. And here we go. I'm gonna go backwards and then forwards on this to make sure it's queued up. I think I should make sure that there's sound. I don't see the sound thing. Let me do this. There it is. Okay, I'm going to turn on the sound first. Okay, and you guys can see this okay, right? All right, here we go. All right, I'm going back the other way.
Well, hey everybody, Pastor Aaron here. It's my pleasure just to announce that this Sunday will be open.
See that stand pop over behind him?
Okay, we've been trying to do this announcement several times today already, and 3 times that podium back there has fallen over on it.
I wish they didn't put the damn music in there. It's like, that's not necessary.
It's stable. I mean, it's not wobbly at all. It's kind of like
there it goes again. Now that's what's interesting, and if you look at it, here's the picture of the podium. It's not like extraordinarily tippy. I mean, it's meant to have those Bibles or other books on top of it, and to be steady while it's being read for service or whatever. It shouldn't be tipping like that, right? So anyway, let's continue. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to surrender the commercial monetization of this episode because I've probably played too much of it already. I should have found a more raw version of this, but this is Real Supernatural on their Instagram. So, and they got a bunch of other videos up there that looks really cool, so you might want to check them out. Give them a follow, give them a love. And if you've got Instagram, follow the Paranormal Portal as well, please. Just a little self-plug here. But anyway, let's get back to it.
That podium has been wobbling. Okay, so we checked the vent. There's a vent there. That is not an air duct that has any forced air at all, so it can't be wobbling from that. There's absolutely no breeze in here. You can see by the banner there. There's no air conditioning. It's these things. They're off. I don't know. So I'm just going to sit here and watch it for a little bit, and we will, I'll see if it does it again.
Look at the flag.
Ooh, that thing's moving. That hasn't been moving. That's new.
That's new.
Seriously, nothing else. There's no breeze. It's moving again.
I wish they didn't have the pianos and crap in here. Anyway, there it is. That's some pretty compelling video of what might be a presence there in the church. I can't obviously say with any conviction either way, but it looks, on first blush, it looks pretty convincing. What the hell is that? Well, I think their church might have someone hanging out in it. Now, I don't think that implies, oh, it's evil, it's horrible. Again, I think that perhaps, past parishioners, past clergy might be sticking around there. I'm not sure what diocese this is, if it's Catholicism or whatever. If it is, it could be, nuns or people that were very devoted and committed to what they're doing, but it's fascinating stuff. And you don't really, when you think of someone that's going to hoax you, and it's a good thing, the first person that comes to my mind is not a minister or priest. Generally speaking, I know there are people too, and so there's always that possibility. So I can't say for sure this is legitimate, but I don't see any real obvious clues to how they're doing it. I mean, string pulls for sure could be easy. And that's always a possibility for things getting knocked over, doors getting opened and closed or whatever. Just an off-screen string pull or a very like fishing line is, if it's lit perfect or well enough, it won't show up at all. It'll be absolutely undecipherable. There's certainly many ways to hoax this stuff, but I don't think this is it. I really think this is legitimate. Something's going, hey, I'm here. And again, I don't think it's horrible or evil or oh, there's something wrong with that church. They got ghosts. I think, again, we're probably swimming in a world of spirits. But what do you guys think? BJ Lapierre says some spirits just feel comfortable at church. I've heard them singing in our old family church. I think it's just natural for some to be drawn back to where they felt comfortable and safe. That's a great take, BJ. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, something trying to get his attention, Karen Alberding says. Yeah. Ghost nuns throwing chalk. Yeah, at least they're not smacking kids with rulers. That's good. Not that, not that many times though. Paranormal Portal, Brent. What do you mean, Linda? Not that many times though. I went to Catholic school that was haunted, Mickey says. Okay. Interesting. Did Mr. Dave Scott come in? Did he? But yeah, I think that's an interesting take. And again, I'm not trying to tell you for sure. This is definitely representing ghostly activity, but it could be. It could be, and it seems like a legit. Now, there's a bigger cut of the first cut of this was a bigger cut, and the pastor is doing community announcements. He's just making a community announcement video when the pedestal knocks over. And then it happens again, and then again. And then he's like, and then he lines it up like this, and then the flag starts wiggling. It's like, oh, so again, I think it's legit. It's a gut take. Dave Scott made a donation, and Josh gifted 5 memberships. What the hell, you guys? Thank you both, Dave. Or should I say Betty? Thank you, Betty. Love ya, mean it. What happened with the memberships? I'm scrolling up here to have a look. Let's have a look. Hopefully it's not too old. You guys have been chatting up a storm. Did I miss it? Where the hell's the memberships? Damn. Maybe I went too far. Maybe I went too far too fast. Who got the memberships? Well, Josh, thank you so much. Dave, thank you so much. Both of you, thank you so much. That really means the world to me, and it helps out a ton. You guys are definitely pushing things to the next level here. The sky is full of good and bad. Mortals will never know. Ephesians 6:12. Oh, good point, Daniel. I like that. Good quote. Good. Yeah, I don't know. I scrolled all the way up, but I couldn't see the gifted memberships. But thank you both. I really mean it. It's awesome. You guys are awesome. All of you guys are awesome. And please, everybody, there's, of course, not everybody can give monetarily, and that's fine. But if you wouldn't mind just hitting the likes, leaving comments if you're watching not live, that's great. Or just chat if you don't mind. That shows interaction as well. So lots of ways to show that there's something happening here. And certainly many of them can help promote the show to the algorithm, which is always a problem for every channel. You couldn't hear it except on tape or video. Something, I'm not explaining it right, but it was weird. What was Karen, remember that singing video of a pastor talking or something on the confessionals? It was pretty amazing too. I didn't hear that. I unfortunately, I love Tony dearly, and the confessionals is a great show. I just don't get a chance to listen to it as much. So I don't think I saw that one. That sounds great though. Stopped by an old church, Linda says, near an old graveyard, middle of nowhere, Texas, last summer. Heebie-jeebies instantly. Thank you, Brandy. Brandy says I'm awesome. You are too. All right, thank you. Brent, Blue Cruise, Amy Creel, the Dachshund Master, Sarah in Disguise, and North Alabama Cryptid, Mr. and Mrs. NAC God memberships. Thank you, BJ. Appreciate it. Special congratulations to all of you who got free memberships, and special thanks to Josh for making it happen. You're awesome, brother. Thank you so much. And thank you, BJ. I appreciate you getting that information for me. What a responsive audience. Wow. You guys are awesome. All right. I'm listening to EDM music. There's a dance club in Denver called The Church that used to be a church. They got converted, but not converted like that. Construction conversion. I gotcha. Yeah, I know there's well, at least with the Catholic Church. With the Catholic Church, they do have a ritual for both founding and building their churches and buildings for church function. And there's also apparently a ritual to release the blessings on the property, which is like, why? Just leave it blessed. That's good. Don't unbless things or what. I'm not sure I understand the mechanics of it though. I'm just speaking very rudimentarily without having any clear understanding of what that process is. But it's like a decommissioning, like they do a decommissioning prayer, and maybe it's not really removing the blessings, but it's like, if you bless a place, keep it blessed. That's good. We all need blessings. So anyway, just some thoughts. So that's today's What the Hell Is That? Again, this is out there. Check out Real Supernatural on Instagram. Looks like they got a pretty good channel there. And if you can see, they've got several videos of the strange and unusual. And, some of them may be less believable than others, but it's all very interesting, and it's right up our alley here. And we may refer to this channel, again in the future, but for now, that's today's segment. I hope you guys loved it. And we're going to get back to the rest of our journey.
The hell is that?
I don't even know, but I know I got to get things lined up here because we're going back into the world of the skinwalkers, ladies and gentlemen. Into the world of the skinwalkers. I'm going to line this up a little bit. There we go. We've been going through an article for the last several shows dealing with some skinwalker accounts, people that claim they've experienced skinwalker activity, and they've been pretty fascinating. Again, there's not a lot that we know about skinwalkers. I don't know. I mean, other than some pieces of information here and there. But generally speaking, the First Nations are not real forthcoming about it because it's very taboo to discuss. And understandably, if that's their belief, then I don't blame them for not talking about it. So there's what? What did you say? There's what? 100 watching. Are you serious? What the hell is going on here? Now I got to see. Hold on. Something's up. No, I got 55 currently. Not 100. Not 100. Looks like 56 concurrent. Yeah. Unless it went down. Oh, but I love the way you think. I mean, I'd be good with 100 people watching. Yeah, that's all I see here too. And that's fine. I mean, I love all 56 of you being here. That's great. So we're going to go back to this thought catalog article and discuss some skinwalker stuff. It's very fascinating and it's very interesting, and it's Also, very concerning that these things might be out there. You guys will have to see what you think. Here we go. We're only got a few left. They're on number 11. Again, this article's coming from Thought Catalog, and it was last updated in 2022, I think was what it said. Maybe it was 2023. But a fantastic article. It's 14 facts about skinwalkers that will 100% scare the SH word out of you. And the facts were on the top of the article, but this was chained on the bottom of them. And these are Reddit accounts of people claiming that they've come in contact or had experiences dealing with skinwalkers. So we're on number 11. These were not my friends. Well, this all happened about 5 years ago. One night, a few of my friends decided after a night of hanging out that we'd go on an adventure at about 3 a.m. Oof. We took a ride about 50 miles to this old Spanish ruin called Quaray in New Mexico that was once the seat of the Inquisition. I can't for the life of me remember what the place is called, so we jump the front gate of the place and we just start exploring. One of my friends brought a flute with him and he started playing it, and about 30 seconds into his mediocre playing, something started screaming really, really loud on the tops of the long deserted walls of the place. It was going from wall to wall really quickly, screaming the most blood-curdling scream you've ever imagined. Well, we got the hell out of there. One of my friends actually pissed his pants and drove for a few hours to Bandelier National Monument, where we planned to camp out for at least the rest of the weekend. Well, we got to Bandelier at probably 6 or 7 a.m., set up our camp, and after a few hours of just talking and about what the hell happened at the ruins, I wanted to take, it says talked. I went to go urinate, probably only about 300 feet from our camp. And this is where everything starts getting a little fuzzy. I remember seeing 2 dust devils coming my way, and when I turned around again, 2 of my friends were there, and they were motioning for me to follow them. I couldn't help but follow them, like I was being pulled behind them in shackles. Well, I followed them for what seemed like 10 or 15 minutes, and then I snapped out of it. These weren't my friends. They had bright red hair, with my friends' faces and cat eyes. Both of these friends were brunette. Well, I stopped walking, and they looked at me with the most terrifying gaze that I've ever seen. Monsters in movies are nothing compared to this.
Related.
Is it related? Is it? Ghostbox says related. Could be related. Maybe they're related skinwalkers. They're related to each other. I turned around and ran as fast as I could back the way that I came from. After like 5 minutes of a full sprint, I got back to that rock that I peed at and found our camp. Everyone was there, still sitting around talking, and didn't even notice that I was gone. I told them what happened with the look-alike skinwalkers, and we packed up everything and left probably within like 10 minutes and got the hell back to Albuquerque. Wow. Now, I've never, ever heard a claim like that. Certainly the mimic part is referred to in some stories, that they can emulate somebody as well. And maybe that's just part of the whole shape-shifting thing. I don't know. The dust devils? I don't know. Maybe. It sounds more and more supernatural and less physical as you know, stories like this come. But again, we have to have a leap of faith that, is this person being honest? Absolutely. 100% honest? Well, we can't know that. Is some of it embellished? Maybe. So, you know, you always got to leave some margin for, I don't know if I buy into that, but maybe. If it's a true story, if any of it is true, that's still some fantastic stuff and terrifying. All right, number 12, to this day, I regret looking to my right that night. It was 1995, and I just graduated high school. An old friend who I haven't talked to in like 7 years now, and I were hanging out, and I said, let's go to New Orleans. And we did. We had $140 between us, and back then that was more than enough. We made it to New Orleans, almost died from culture shock, and turned around and headed to Magnolia, Mississippi, just to get some sleep. We stayed at the Magnolia Inn, which is a crap hole. But it was nice and cool. And I don't understand. We stayed at the Magnolia Inn, which is a crap hole, but it was nice and cool. Which was it? Well, it was May or June in South Mississippi. Cool was the only adjective that mattered. We stayed up that night playing poker, drinking Gordon's vodka, and talking about who knows what. Probably girls, college and college girls. Well, at some point I said, "Ever been to Texas?" "Nope." "Pack your bag and let's roll." I don't understand that. Nope. Oh, okay. So they're going to Texas. I gotcha. We had a road atlas. Marshall, Texas was right across the border from Shreveport. We arrived in Shreveport, made a phone call to another friend who we were actually supposed to be staying with, and both of our mothers had called looking for us. The only person that knew where we were was the buddy on my phone. Well, it was no big deal. We would be home in a day or two. I'm being short on details because if I don't, this will turn into a novel-length story about chasing armadillos and being chased by boogeymen. Before we left that rest area in Shreveport, we made the call. Oh, okay, where we made the call, we saw an armadillo. And let me tell you something about armadillos. Those bastards will hiss, jump, and turn into Tasmanian devils if you corner them. They also carry leprosy. I did not know that. That's not good. We were 18, and we chased that armadillo around for about an hour. Now, let me tell you about Shreveport. I don't know how it is now, but in the summer of '95, it looked and smelled like a place where oil and metal went to die. It was dirty. It was a crap hole. We crossed a bridge and saw people fishing 100 yards from where a drainage pipe from a factory was spewing forth waste upriver from the fishermen. The locals reminded me of locals in Adamsville, bald-headed women, cross-eyed men, a lot of bald-headed, cross-eyed kids. I'm sorry, but it was a Rob Zombie movie come to life. I felt like I was going to be taken advantage of because I had a full head of hair and could see straight. The best part of Shreveport was an armadillo that might possibly have leprosy. Marshall's, Texas was 40 miles away, and we rolled on. Marshall was a decent little town, home of the Fire Ant Festival. We stopped at a little barbecue joint, had a Coke, a smile, and some pulled pork. It was getting late and the sun was setting, and we looked at the map and decided to backtrack a bit and head up rural Route 43 through Karnak and past Caddo Lake. We would eventually run into Highway 59, head to Texarkana, and then head back home. When we left the barbecue joint, we headed towards 43. It was dusk. Highway 43 wasn't well lit. It was almost as dark as Natchez Trace Parkway. I got a good story about using a pair of pantyhose as a fan belt for an old diesel Mercedes. Don't ever get stuck on Trace after dark, ever. My friend was driving and we were doing about 45 miles an hour. Any faster would have been reckless, even for a couple of 18-year-old dumb kids. This road was kind of like Christmasville Road. The locals reading this will know what I mean. The non-locals just have to use your imagination. It was dark, winding, full of hills that ended in curves, and there were beady and glowing eyes on both sides of the road. You could hear crickets and bullfrogs over the sound of the wind rushing by that old Sentra. It was peaceful and creepy at the same time. The humidity was a real thing. It was tangible. The air was thick, and it smelled like pastures, hay, and swamp. We drove for what seemed like hours, and it was after midnight, and I saw a sign that informed me that Bivens was the next town of any size. Well, I was hypnotized by the yellow lines on the road. We hadn't seen another car in at least an hour. Sleepy, I rolled the window down and lit a cigarette, and there was music coming from the radio, the tape player. It was either Tupac or Bob Seger. I smoked my cigarette, absent-mindedly flicking the ashes out of the window. I took one last puff and flicked the Camel short off into the woods, and then I saw it. I never looked to my right. I didn't even kind of peek to the right. Maybe I did a little when I flicked the cigarette away. I don't know, but what I do know is that in my periphery, there was something running alongside of the car. It was just behind my window, behind where the edge of the door ends and before where the back window begins. I looked over at the speedometer, 40 miles per hour, and I looked at my friend. He was looking straight ahead. I looked straight ahead, and I could still see it. I could see one huge arm, matted hair, reddish brown, sticky looking, primal. I used my right hand over and rolled up my window. My friend was still looking straight ahead. His jaw was clenched, and he put both hands on the wheel, and he sped up. No words were said. I looked straight ahead, and still out of my periphery, I could see that arm moving, muscles and tendons visibly rippling beneath that matted hair. As the car gained a little speed on the thing on the long side of us lost pace slightly. And I then saw the hand on the end of that nightmarish arm. The hand was clenched into a fist the size of a cantaloupe. A big cantaloupe. It was covered in the same hair, but slightly darker around the fingers, like it was stained with something. Suddenly the hand unclenched, and then I saw the claws, black as this damned after midnight Texas night. These claws were at least 2 inches long, sharp, like an animal's. This wasn't a hand so much as it was the killing paw and claws of some beast whose only purpose was to kill and eat. I looked back at my friend. I looked at the speedometer, 50 miles per hour. I looked straight ahead. It was still there. I lit another cigarette, didn't roll down the window, and simply said, "Shoot." The music stopped. I finally broke the silence and said, "Hey, do you?" And before I could finish, my buddy said, "I see it. I've been seeing it. I can't even see you, but I can see whatever the hell that crap is." "How much do you see?" "More than I want to. Speed up, John. Just speed up. I can't forever." I looked over, 55 miles per hour. Whatever was chasing us silently was starting to lag behind. I finally looked to my right just a bit, and imagine the scary part of the movie where you put your hands up in front of your face, but still peek through. In 37 years, I have 2 regrets. One is picking up that first cigarette, and the other is me looking to my right that night. This beast was huge. Its chest was above the top of the car, and all I could see was that matted reddish brown hair. And then it bent forward as it ran. I saw the face of this thing. All reality stopped. We were no longer driving down some country road in Texas. We were now trying to escape from the depths of a monster-inhabited hell. This thing's face was beyond my powers to describe. It was evil. The eyes were black and the pupils were red. It flashed its teeth at me in a snarl, huge and yellow. Saliva dripped from its mouth. It opened its eyes wide and looked hungry and pissed off. And then it opened its mouth. The skin pulled back until all you could see were black gums and yellow teeth. Immediately, I could feel the car accelerate. "Effing hell, John, just go." I prayed. I cussed. I lit a cigarette. Then, like sunshine breaking through the clouds, the road straightened out. "Don't you slow down." We drove through Bivens, and we drove to Texarkana. Then we drove home. We never said a word. It was about 11 years later, 11 to be exact, before we ever even talked about it again. And we didn't talk about it much. He said he'd never told anyone, and I hadn't either. I told the story a few years back for the first time while I was parked out on a gravel road doing things you do when you're parked out on a gravel road with a good-looking woman. I told it a year ago or so to a couple of kids who wanted to hear a scary story while they sat around a campfire. They didn't sleep for a day or two, but they asked me a dozen more times to tell them the story. I never told anyone until now that I saw its face. I've been scared for my life exactly 2 times. Once was on that road and once was looking at a grizzly bear in front of me with a terminal velocity inducing drop to the side of me. Call it what you will, call it BS if you want, but look me in the eyes and let me tell you this story and you'll know. Never doubt that there are things in this world that defy explanation and logic. The boogeyman is real. Some 16 or 17 years after this happened, I ran across a story and a movie called The Legend of Boggy Creek, Fouke, Arkansas, where the aforementioned story, the movie, takes place. It isn't that far from Bivens, Texas, as the crow flies. Invite me over, buy me a beer, sit on the porch with me, and I'll tell you the story over a pack of Marlboros and a few of those beers. Sounds like he should have been on the show. That's a fantastic story. It really is. Is it real? Is it embellished? Well, I don't know. You be the judge. Can't know. I can't know. But it's fascinating story. And that kind of ties it up. That was Jacob Greer's. Let me put this back on screen so you guys can see. Jacob Greer's is the author of this article, again on Thought Catalog. So fantastic job, Jacob. That's a hell of a group of stories. And again, we don't know much about them, but that's much we do know. What we do know, we don't know much. That's what we know. I don't know. That's strange. Very, very strange. All right. Well, we'll start another article again. What time do we got? 8:16. I think I want to read this one. This is one I've had open for a while. And it's not, well, I mean, it's a little long, but it moves us over to phantomsandmonsters.com before we hit the cryptids. I just wanted to hit this story because we don't do a lot of talking about this, but reality shifts is an interesting phenomenon. It's kind of like time and space shifts. But I don't know. Maybe you think these are all hooey. Maybe you think there's something to this stuff. Whatever you think, it makes for good shows. Shapst, the British lady. Shapst is a new name. I don't remember seeing you before, Shapst. Sasquatch Chronicles 515 is the best one. Well, is that the one with Claire? Yeah, Claire, the British lady. I know what a bear is, and what I saw was in no way a bear. Yeah. She's apparently a wonderful person, and her story is so compelling. When you listen to her tell that story on Sasquatch Chronicles, you feel her stress. You feel her stress. So, I mean, I have no doubt that what she said happened is what's happened. Yeah, that's her name is Claire, Claire, and yeah, that's a phenomenal episode. And many phenomenal shows over on Sasquatch Chronicles. So you should definitely check out Sasquatch Chronicles if you haven't. Daniel Denlar's here. Bigfoot really don't want you to make a big deal out of him when you see him. Yeah, that's probably true. They seem to pretty actively avoid people. Like they sometimes come in and pester people, but I think that's more like, hey, this is where we are. This is where our family group is. You're too close and you need to not be here. So they are exceptionally talented and good at harassing people out of their areas. But I think for the most part, they choose our absence. But they're also curious. And that's kind of the conundrum. It's like for something that really wants to avoid people, they sure come and stare in windows, look in on tents and campers and all that stuff. But then again, I think they're an intelligent being, and they like to observe what we're doing. Like what we're doing is so different from everything else in their experience that it's probably like us watching fireworks. It's like, oh, we've seen fireworks. We know they go up and they pop and there's bright lights and stuff, but we go every year to go see them again because there's something really magical about it. So if you grew up in a world of darkness and sticks, you'd probably be pretty excited to see a camper pull up, look in and see a TV or something like that, or any number of lights, smells, experiences, sounds. It's all probably equivalent to like 4th of July for us, right? So it makes sense that they would go look in on people. I think I would if I was only aware of the natural wild world around me, and then I got suddenly close to a campsite. I think I'd be like, oh my God, it's like coming up on a space station. Wow, what are they doing? You sit and watch for hours as people just do things you've never seen before. Fascinating, I'm sure. So we're going to go to this article from phantomsandmonsters.com, and we'll probably touch on Phantoms and Monsters in a little bit as well. We're kind of winding into almost to the halfway point of the second hour. So maybe this is the only Phantoms and Monsters we're going to get to before the Cryptid Corner. But we'll definitely hit the Phantoms and Monsters again tomorrow night. And again, make sure you're checking out Lon's shows. He has Phantoms and Monsters radio podcast is phenomenal. That's Lon's show. And he does live streams every Friday night, right before the Paranormal Portal. An hour before. So you can tune in and watch an hour of Lon. You can then tune in and watch 2 hours of the Portal. And then tune in and watch 3 hours of Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. So there's so much to love.
Zoo.
What does that say? It says a zoo. Yeah, we probably all do belong in a zoo. That's probably true. We're all kind of wild animals. Or it's responding to the Sasquatch thing. Well, which I would be brokenhearted beyond belief to find out like something like a Sasquatch ever was placed in a zoo. What a horrendous ending to this marvelous creature. So hopefully that never happens. Live stream is better than a dead stream. Yeah, you're right, Daniel. You're right. All right, local Squatch is here. Good to see ya. I have a bell hanging at a gifting stuff, and it rang once. I'm being visited. Nice. A little busy tonight on the Ghost Box. That's kind of nice. Getting some presences, apparently, potentially, showing up. Nothing's for sure, but maybe. But yeah, great to see you guys. Mercedes, how you doing? The wonderful, impeccable, multi-talented Mercedes Lucky Benedict is here. Good to see you. You can catch her over on her channel. And she also is, and I'm sorry, Mercedes, names are always a dyslexia for me, but if you want to drop the names of the shows that you're involved in, please do in the chat. I think that'd be wonderful. You guys got to check it out. She works with, well, she does a couple different shows, actually. She's done a documentary, and I did some narration for it, and that was really cool. And she can give more information about that, as well as, I think she's doing some books. Hey, MCAT, good to see you. MCAT is one of our alumni here on the Paranormal Portal. A longtime friend, excellent guy. I've met him in person. He's a phenomenal person. Good to see you, MCAT, man. Great to have you show up. All right, so I'm going to get to this article before we run all out of time. Sorry. I just get sidetracked by the chat, and then I think if we ever figure out Bigfoot, we figure everything out. Maybe, Shapst. That might be. I don't know. I'm certainly sure we have a lot to learn from them. All right, an early example of a reality shift. This is coming from phantomsandmonsters.com. So please check it out. This is not quite the cryptid corner yet, but we'll get to that in a minute. A strange tale now I just can't talk. What the hell happened? A strange tale provided during an inquest was published in the London Times on December 11th, 1873. Well, this is going to be tricky reading because the Old English is awkward, but it's very poetic, really. I mean, there were exceptional writers back then, but it's just their vernacular was so different than today. So it's a struggle to narrate this stuff, but I'll do my best. A singular circumstance came to light on the Bristol Police Court on Tuesday. Mr. Thomas B. Cupston and his wife, Mrs. Anna Martha Cupston, of Virginia Road, Leeds, were brought up for being disorderly in the Victoria Hotel and with letting off fire alarms. It was stated in evidence by the landlady of the hotel, Mrs. Tongue, that the defendants took an apartment of the hotel on Monday evening and retired to rest at about 12 o'clock. About 4 o'clock in the morning, she was awoke by loud screams and shouts in their bedroom, succeeded by a report of firearms. She went down and found that they had both leapt from their bedroom into the yard below, a depth of upwards of 12 feet, and then made their way to the railway station opposite. Mr. T. Harker, the night superintendent of the Bristol Exeter Railway, said the parties rushed into his office, partly dressed, crying out, "Murder!" and they were in terrible state of excitement. They told him they had escaped from the den of rogues and thieves, and they had to defend themselves. They were under the impression that someone was following them, and they made him search the waiting room to see if there was no one there. Upon his sending for a policeman, Mr. Cumston was searched, and a revolver and 3 knives were found upon him. When asked by the magistrate what he had to say in explanation of the matter, Mr. Cumston, who had an impediment in his speech, I know what that's like, said he and his wife had been staying at Clifton, but intended to proceed to Weston-super-Mare, that morning. They came down and engaged a room at the Victoria Hotel, being near the railway station. They were alarmed at about 4 o'clock in the morning by terrible noises, which they could not explain, and which frightened them very much. The bed seemed to open. It did all sorts of strange things. The floor, too, opened, and they heard voices. They were so terrified that they opened their bedroom window and leapt out. Mrs. Cumston also gave her version of the affair. She said that she heard terrible noises at about 4 o'clock in the morning. The floor seemed to be giving way and certainly opened, and her husband fell down some distance, and she tried to get him up. What they said was repeated every time they spoke. Being very much frightened, she asked her husband to fire off his pistol, which he did into the ceiling. The noises continuing, they got out of the window, but she did not know how. When they got outside, she asked her husband to fire off his pistol once again. They then ran up to the railway station in reply to the bench. The lady said she did not hear the noises so plainly as her husband. Ultimately, a Mr. Butt, who had been telegraphed for from Gloucester, sorry, attended the court, and in reply to the bench said the parties occupied a very good position in Leeds. He offered to take them proper charge of them if they were handed over to him, which was ultimately done. The defendants being discharged from custody, no explanation can be given of this strange affair, and the belief is that it was a hallucination on the part of the husband. Well, there you go. How was that? I went right into as best a British accent as I could do. If what the Cumstons said was true, then the strange activity inspired a quick and desperate response. It can be said that is similar to modern descriptions of the opening of a supposed portal to another dimension. A more recent hypothesis may be reality shifts. A reality shift is described as the sudden manifestation of objects appearing, disappearing, transforming, and transporting. Shifts in reality have been relied upon by those who practice magic, work as shamanic or energy healers, or believe in the transformative powers, of prayer. An interesting reference to this phenomena can be found at, and there's a link, Reality Shifts When Consciousness Changes the Physical World. I think that's a book. So here we go. The only other reference that I could find to this event was reported by the Bristol Daily Post. Uh-oh. Is there drama in our chat? Uh-oh. All right. Let's see what's going on. The only other reference in Bristol Daily Post. On the December 8th, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas B. Cumston arrived in Bristol for a short holiday. They stayed at the Victoria Hotel and were soon to encounter something so unbelievable that it both shocked and confused them so much that it caused them to be arrested for disorderly conduct from the local railway station soon after the event. The couple told in court how early in the evening they had heard strange loud sounds in or near their room. They, I think it meant they, complained to the landlady, who also heard the noises but thought nothing of them. After the noises ceased, they retired to bed for the night but were awoken at approximately 3 a.m. by the same loud noises. This time they were accompanied by the incredible sensation that the floor was giving way beneath them. The couple shouted out for help, but could not help but notice how strange their shouts sounded, echoing weirdly and being repeated by an unseen presences. Mr. Cumpston then told how the floor suddenly opened up and how it felt as if they were being dragged into it. Mrs. Cumpston managed to pull him out, and the two of them made a hasty escape out a nearby window. Interesting. They were panicked beyond belief, and they were under the confused impression that criminals had somehow attempted to kidnap them. They fled to the nearby railway station, where they were soon arrested by local police for disorderly conduct. The landlady testified in police court that she had indeed heard the unusual noises. But she had no significant recollection of them. The police had checked out Cumpston's rooms and found nothing out of the ordinary. The court concluded that the Cumpstons had suffered a collective hallucination and let them go. To this day, there's no plausible explanation for what actually happened to the Cumpstons. Those people familiar with author William Hope Hodgson's detective of the occult Carnacki, the Ghost Finder, would likely recognize some parallel with the Whistling Rooms summary. The literary character Thomas Carnacki, the famous investigator of real ghost stories, tells the results of his peculiar and weird examinations. The summary has also been reprinted in numerous anthologies, including collections introduced by Alfred Hitchcock. Hodgson's work was inspirational to many science fiction and fantasy writers, including H.P. Lovecraft, Olaf Stapledon, and Dennis Wheatley. Much of Hodgson's works are being reprinted since copyright protection has expired on most of his early writings. Very interesting. Very interesting. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it possible their hotel room almost sucked them into a different layer of reality or something? I don't know. Very strange. Very, very strange. I don't know. It's very peculiar. But believe what you will. We just discussed possibilities here on the portal. I don't pretend to have any answers. I have ideas, but not answers. All right. Well, I think it's going to be time at this point for us to dive into what's left of the show, into the cryptids. Are you guys ready? It's time for... not this. It's time for something else. And this is what it is. The Cryptid Corner. Let's do it. I had to howl along. Sorry. I'm easily amused. What can I say? Just trying to catch up with what's going on in the chat. All right. Here we go. I'm going to get the chat all pulled up. Here we go. All right. We're going to start out our Cryptid Corner, which is our journey into the strange creatures and reports of these not necessarily authenticated by modern sciences, but people still have encounters with them. And just like everything else in the paranormal, there's no explaining it. But again, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. It's kind of like I should get a t-shirt that says that. I should make a t-shirt. That's a great quote. It has everything to do with this stuff. All right, let's get to this. We're going to start out again, like I said, with SasquatchChronicles.com. And this is a quick one from June 5th, yesterday. I saw something that should not exist. A listener writes, trying to get something off my chest that happened in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan in 1977. It's a kind of a long story. I saw the creature up close when I was 11 years old. And Wes says he spoke to the witnesses and he's agreed to come on the show. That's good. He said, I was playing in the woods, not paying attention to my surroundings, and I came across this thing. And this thing stood up and looked at me. The face reminded me of an old Native American, but it was not human. I think it was digging for something. I was uncomfortably close. This creature looked at me in disgust and turned and walked away. At the same time, I was running in the opposite direction. My God, 11-year-old kid coming face to face with one of these giants. You know, that's kind of a common theme, and we don't know. I guess the one takeaway is we don't know what their gestures mean, and we always apply human meaning to it. Like, we often see that come up in these Bigfoot reports. It looked at me like it was disgusted, just like. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what it means for them. Case in point, when we're happy or having a good time, we smile. You know, we smile, we show our teeth. It's just an expression of joy. However, if you're looking at a chimpanzee and it's smiling, that means it's extraordinarily stressed and it's probably going to tear your face off. And that's, we can't anthropomorphize their gestures and expressions with our meaning, because just simply smiling for us is a great thing, but if you see a monkey or a primate smiling, it's a very bad thing. And it means that whatever, that animal is very stressed and is probably thinking of attacking you and maybe very close to attacking you. So I wonder about that, the whole look of disgust thing. Like, maybe it's like, that's curious. And it comes across like, I don't know. You know what I mean, though? We have a tendency to imprint our definition of gestures and things onto these other things, and maybe we're absolutely wrong. Maybe it's not a disgust. Maybe it's like, oh, look at that, it's cute. Maybe it just makes a weird face when it sees a person. Oh, look at that, one of those bald apes. Right here, right in front of me. Wow. I'm going to go tell the kids, and walks away. We don't know. But it's interesting thought that we oftentimes imprint our understandings, especially social cues like that, to these other things that don't have our social awareness. So, just a food for thought. Just food for thought. It's upset it had to leave. Yeah, that could be the disgust part. I don't know. I don't know. That's a great thought owl. Certainly, it could be like, damn it, I just got here. I was just getting to the grubs. Ugh, kids. But I mean, it didn't throw anything. It didn't have a tantrum. It didn't do anything hurtful. It just looked and went, and then left. And maybe it is a human, very human in its reactions. Maybe it is disgusted, but it's disgusted by the circumstances, not necessarily the fact that a person is there. Maybe it's a little disgusted with itself. It's like, how did that kid get so damn close? God, I suck. You never know what that disgust means. Maybe he's pissed because he got snuck up on and didn't know. I don't know. Just throwing ideas out there. But yeah, it could be disgusting human. You're right, Mike. It could be, but what if it's not? What if it's just a misread? Completely. Sorry. And that's certainly something we have to consider. So whenever you see people apply meaning to these gestures, these appearances, we really don't know what they're thinking. Unless they're mind speaking, and then they'll probably tell you, puny human. You never know. You never know. Give you Incredible Hulk throwback on there. But that's the first story on our cryptid corner. I guess we're probably going to have a little time. It's 38. Yeah, we're going to be able to get back to Phantoms and Monsters. I only got one more from Sasquatch Chronicles here. And this one's a little bit longer. It has some pictures included as well, along with the structure. So let's take a look at this. This one is from SasquatchChronicles.com, June 3rd. Strange incident in the Salt Fork State Park. I think that's Utah, right? It's Ohio. Okay. A listener writes, Ohio's been dealing with rain for weeks, for the past month or so. We've only had 2 to 3 days without rain per week, so everything is wet and muddy. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was about May 18th, the two of us went to Salt Fork Park on one of the drier days. Initially, we were going to go to the cave, but they're redoing some of the roads there at the park, so the road to the cave was closed. So we drove on and found a trail that leads to Stonehouse. It's either Stonehouse or Rock House. I forget what it's technically called. Well, to get to this house, you park and you walk across the road to the trail leading to the house. The trail goes for a while and then forks two separate paths. One path goes deeper into the woods. The woods there are thicker than one would think for Ohio, and the other down around the side of the lake. Well, eventually the paths merge again, and a couple 100 feet later you get to stone/rock house. And there's a picture of what looks like a structure. We decided that to get to the house we'd have to take the trail runs. We'd take the trail that runs along the water first and the other on the way back. We walked for a bit, then I had an issue I was hoping would go away. Being I had a glass of water and a large iced tea, nature called. And while I'm not promoting nor proud of it, I found a large boulder, and I relieved myself behind it. Just enough to feel less bloated. Sorry, DONR. I don't know what that means. But, and got back on the trail. On this trail, you can always see the water, and at some points, the trail is only a couple feet from the water's edge. At either the first or second on these points, where some water had been draining from the higher ground down to the lake. It was more muddy than other places, and I happened to look down, and I swear I saw a footprint. It was in the mud coming from the water's edge and going towards the hill on my left. It wasn't large, probably around the same size of my 10.5 or 11 shoe, but it looked like I could see 5 toes digging into the mud. Like you'd expect for traction coming up from the water in the mud. Oh, I guess that's the image right there. I looked and found what seemed to be another print not too far away, but it was in the middle of the trail and had been walked on by people. There were 15 to 18 people on the trail with us. I did snap a photo and videos of this email, and I thought it was odd, but didn't put too much into it, so we continued to walk. With me in the lead, still on the trail at the water's edge, no more than 4 or so minutes later, I heard something whiz behind my head between us, and into the bushes to my right, coming from the left where the bushes are thicker, and in the direction the print was pointing. Both of us stop, and I spun around and said, "Did you hear that?" And he said, "What was that?" It was worth noting that it was a breezy day, and it would go from no breeze to a mild breeze and then back the entire day. But when this thing passed between us, the wind stopped and the birds went quiet. Like I said, breezes come and go, or came and went the entire day, but no other time did the birds go quiet. I still don't know what it was, but it sounded like a large stick spinning with that whoomp, whoomp, whoomp sound you hear when someone spins a stick or a branch or baton really close to your ears. It reminded me somewhat of the spinning blades of a helicopter when they first start up. We both froze and looked from where it seemed to have come from. I took a video of the area but didn't see anything abnormal. If this would have happened without seeing what looks like a print, I wouldn't have thought much about it. So we continued on the path to the house right after the other path merged without incident. On the way back, we took the path that went up the hill deeper in the woods. We weren't on it for very long when from behind us to our right, we heard one loud, distinct wood knock. We both stopped, looked at each other with wide eyes, and we both said, "Did you hear that?" We scanned the trees, but it was so thick we couldn't see anything. I wasn't recording, so I didn't capture the noise. As we started to descend the trail, we were back to where it merges with the lakeside trail. I looked down and saw and photographed 2 tufts of orange hair that were stuck to some branches. It could have been a fox or a person's dog or a host of other things, but what we heard and saw earlier, I thought it was worth noting. Yeah, that looks like fur, though. I don't think these things are covered in fur. I think it's hair, much like what's on our head, so I wouldn't expect to see tufts of Bigfoot hair. Nothing else happened, and we made it back to the car and went home. So I think that's animal fur. It could just be from a dog, especially if there were dogs on the trail. That looks very much like the many layered coats that dogs have. If you if you pinch on their hair on dogs or cats, you get these tufts of hair like this. And I don't think that is Bigfoot hair. I really don't. But they're supposed to have hair, not fur, and that's fur. So that's a cool story. Again, do I know what's going on here? No. It's an interesting experience. I don't know that this is. I don't know what the structure really has to do with it, though. He never really mentioned what this was or what the significance was. I don't think. He just talked about taking a urinating by a boulder and then hearing stuff in the thicket, and then of course the prints, which may or may not be a print. I don't know. It's very weathered if it is, or very, it's not pristine, and you'd need it to be pristine for it to be truly evidence. But it could indicate the presence of something, and it wouldn't surprise me in Ohio, of all places, that seems to have a lot of everything. So I don't know. Interesting stuff, though, all the same. Could have certainly been a Bigfoot nearby. I'm pretty sure that when we enter forests, if they're around, they're very aware of us and they watch us. It's just the way it works, I think. But interesting stories all the same. Cool. And what can I say? You heard it here. You heard it here, folks. But we're going to go on to a story from Phantoms and Monsters again. We're kind of hopscotching around tonight, which is fine. Which is absolutely fine. But we're going to head back to phantomsandmonsters.com. And this is kind of a creepy story. I do think that perhaps several of the cryptids that we encounter may very well be a subterranean species most of the time. I think that they probably exist mostly below the surface of the ground. And they probably pop up to get a bite to eat or wander around, check out things, and then pop back down. Maybe that's where they spend some of their days, as they're largely nocturnal. Probably they prefer to be in some subterranean place, because people really don't go into caves, except some people do, and that's the merit of this story. This is coming from phantomsandmonsters.com. Young spelunker encounters glowing eyes in Alberta, Canada cave. This is all the way up in Alberta. Up to you Canadians. There are plenty of references of people being in caves and seeing these strange glowing eyes. I think mostly it's not bioluminescence. I think that if something does exist in a cave, it's probably going to have very, very sensitive night vision, and like cats, dogs, their eyes reflect light very easily. Deer, raccoons, etc., possums, certainly. It's just no problem to see them in the dark if they're looking towards the light, because it's like they got headlights. Now, I think that people that are in caves are utilizing light as well, and certainly if there's something living there, it's got very good night vision, and it's probably going to have a very similar effect with reflecting light. So doesn't mean it's a dog or a fox or anything like that. Most could be creatures, but what are they? We don't know. Let's check it out. At the moment, without telling anyone what I'd seen, someone outside let out an absolutely blood-curdling scream. I backed out of the hole as fast as I could, and my head hit the roof of the cave, turning the lamp off. Oof. Hello, sir. I was on a team camp expedition in Alberta, Canada, to spelunk some local caves when we decided to move off the beaten path and search another cave. It was very tight, and we had to literally force ourselves inside. Once we got in, we walked through the cave for about 1 kilometer until we reached the end, where there was a flat wall, and the base of the wall and up the steep slope was a 1 meter by 1 meter approximately hole in the wall. I was the skinniest, so was volunteered to investigate. Well, I put on the camp leader's headlamp and got onto my stomach and entered the hole, not able to move my hands more than 15 degrees to the side, and edged my whole body in with my feet. As soon as I got into that hole, I felt a presence watching me. Being a young lad, I ignored it and just kept crawling into the hole. I traveled around 3 meters into the hole until there was a sharp left-hand turn. Well, I shone my headlamp down in the tunnel to the end and saw a pile of sticks and leaves and a dead end. Well, I went in to take a look, still not able to move my body more than an inch in any direction except for forward. Well, I picked up one of the sticks and realized that was a human bone. Oh, God, that's not good. Well, at that moment, without telling anyone what I had seen, someone outside let out an absolutely blood-curdling scream. I backed out of the hole as fast as I could, and my head hit the roof of the cave, turning the headlamp off. And as soon as the lamp turned out, I saw two glowing eyes staring directly into my face. Instantly, two hands grabbed my ankles and yanked me out of that hole. And we ran. The camp lady would not tell anyone what she had seen, and neither did I, because I didn't want everyone to think that I was crazy. Ugh. Makes me think of those pale crawlers, those ghouls or whatever the hell they are. Yeesh. That's horrifying. MCAT says, famous last words. I went inside to take a look. Yeah, that's for sure. Larry and Shirley Bell, how you doing over on Facebook? Good to see ya. That's crazy. Oof. Crazy stuff. Great story, though. There you go. All right. These are the books that Lon has available, and they are listed on every page of his site. You should definitely check him out. Lon's been at this for a long time and has published some great works. So definitely support his books, his podcast, and his website. All right, here we go. We're going to go to another one. I guess this is the last one we'll have time for. How long is this one? Yeah, this one's nice and short. All right, here we go. Anomalous baby crying in North Georgia Appalachians. Mimic? Non-corporeal entity? Question mark, question mark. Again, with baby crying noises, that can be pretty ambiguous, and there certainly is certain wildlife that can sound like that. I know that some cat species can create that, like bobcats and potentially mountain lions are, especially mating ones, they make some horrifying noises. So hearing a baby cry can, it sounds like a baby crying, but it could just be some of those wildcat species, but it could be something else. Certainly there's plenty of those stories as well. I'm not saying if you hear a baby crying not to think that it might be a baby crying, but if you're in the deep, desolate woods and you hear a baby cry and you're miles from anywhere, don't go looking. don't go looking. I know it's a human prerogative almost just to be like, I hear a baby and needs help. I have to go help. It's like almost coded into our genetics, but are you sure it's a baby? How'd a baby get out in the middle of the woods? That'd be my creepy part. I'd be like, yeah, well, geez, put on the headphones and turn up the music. I sound like a real dick, but honestly, if I was a predator that preyed on human beings, that's definitely something I would figure out is how to sound like one of the babies, because instantly people are going to want to go help. I mean, and certainly predation is an art of these creatures developing tactics that draw their prey in. Well, if we hear a baby crying, that's going to draw us in. All right, let's see what the story is. He was maybe halfway there, looking up and seeing nobody inside. Yet when the noises stop, then the crying started again, but coming from the house. I received the following account. This is back in the day of no cars for the poor folk in the Appalachians of North Georgia. My great-grandfather's friend was a richer man by poor standards, and thus he had a horse. One day he was riding the horse through the state highway, which was a lonely road out in the middle of nowhere. Sun beating down on him on this summer day. The road cut this old farm property in half. On the left side of the road was a barn, and on the right side was the old farmhouse. It had been abandoned for several years at that point, and nothing else but tall, swaying cornfields. As he's nearing the house, he feels a weird, eerie feeling, but he doesn't pause until he hears a baby crying from inside the house. Now, there was no car in the driveway, no open door, no lights on. He deduced that it was a baby, that if it was a baby, someone, maybe a young mother on the run, or a kidnapper was hiding out in there. Well, either way, the crying baby made him pull up into the driveway on his horse, tie the horse up, and walk up the walkway. He was halfway up to the walkway when the baby stopped. He paused, and then the sound started again. But this time the sound was coming from the barn. Thinking it was just wind currents or something, he strode back down the walkway and across the highway, leaving his horse. He walked through the corn towards the barn. He was maybe halfway there, looking up, seeing nobody inside, and yet when the noises stopped, then the crying started again, but coming from the house. He bolted back through the corn and onto his horse and spurred it out of the property. The horse had been neighing and stomping and generally acting freaked, but it didn't normally do, being an older and gentler horse. The friend told my grandpa that this was the only time in that horse's life he'd spurred it and it actually began to gallop away without any further persuasion. Yikes. Ghost, creature, cryptid, maybe all? Hard to know. That's horrifying. Yeah, the whole baby crying thing, that's a sticky web for sure. That's not what I wanted. Sorry. I half absently pushed that button. So anyway, that's the stories. I hope you guys had a good time, and I really enjoy doing these shows with you guys. I appreciate all you guys showing up and being a part of the journey with me. That really means the world. It really, really, really does. And I just want to welcome any new watchers, observers, listeners, viewers. And if you like what you're seeing, please get subscribed. Please hit the likes. Before you leave, that goes a long way into helping me out. And watch for the podcast. I do 2 shows. If you want information on what the Paranormal Portal is, head over to https://paranormalportal.net. Paranormalportal.net. If you just do paranormalportal.net in your URL of your browser, it'll go to my site. And that'll give you a little information about what the Paranormal Portal is. Thank you, Aussie. Appreciate it, brother. And hopefully you guys will stick around. Spread the word, though. I appreciate any and all of you that spread the word and let other people know what we're doing here. Obviously, being a creator, I certainly would love to see this grow, but if this is as big as it gets, I'm already extraordinarily blessed and very grateful for all of you guys. So thank you for being here and being part of the journey. And I will be back tomorrow night. I think Tex will be here. I don't know. I haven't verified with him, but and anyway, oh yeah, Justin Gutierrez says, I met MCAT in Coloma too. Good to see you, he says, over on Rumble. So MCAT, if you're out there, Justin Gutierrez says hello. And that's going to do it for me, though. That's all I got for you. Brent equals the best. I love you, local Squatch. Thank you, brother. I love you all. Thank you all for being here. Remember, love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll see you tomorrow night right here at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Watch for the new podcast on Mondays. If you can't make it tomorrow night, check out the podcast on Monday. It'll be released, and it's a great discussion I had with a gentleman across the pond. Gentleman from England. He joined me and had some great stories. So hopefully you'll tune in and check that out. Check out last week's, though, as well. Had a great Marvin Ballard was my guest, and wonderful guy. He sounds like Gerald McRaney. Any of you guys know that guy? He's one of the old, I don't know, this is really dating myself, but he was the mustache detective in that old TV show Simon and Simon. But Marvin Ballard sounds just like Gerald McRaney. It was like, God, that guy sounds like Gerald McRaney. He could be doing like cereal commercials or whatever. The guy has a great voice. So anyway, that's what I got cooking. I'll be back tomorrow. Dachshund Master says, see you tomorrow. Perfect. Thank you, guys. Special thanks again to all of you who are able to super chat or Josh giving the memberships. I really appreciate it. It goes a long way to help me keep the lights on here. But just if all you can do is hit the like, you're my hero. So love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves. See you then.